the mid-1980s. In the heart of Texas, a shadow was growing, stretching its fingers across the quiet suburbs between Dallas and Fort Worth. The media, in a desperate attempt to name the faceless dread haunting their communities, called him the Arlington Phantom. The FBI just called him a priority. This wasn't merely a case. It was a siege of terror conducted by an invisible enemy. A ghost who materialized only to inflict pain and then vanished back into the night, leaving a community paralyzed by fear. He was a ghost, slipping through the perceived safety of a slit-open window, hunting in the deceptive stillness of dark parking lots. His method was intimate and brutal, a terrifying signature that marked each attack with unspeakable cruelty. Yet, for all his violence, he left almost nothing behind for police to follow. No fingerprints, no witnesses who could offer a clear description, no discernible motive. He was a phantom in every sense of the word. His presence known only by the devastating void he left in his wake. Detectives walked through crime scenes, their flashlight beams cutting through the darkness of desolate fields and quiet homes, but the trail always went cold, as if the perpetrator himself had dissolved into thin air. Law enforcement was trapped in a desperate race against time, a frantic effort to catch a specter before he could claim another victim. A joint task force was formed, pooling resources and dedicating countless hours to chasing whispers and shadows. But the Phantom remained a ghost. Publicly, officials projected an image of calm and confidence, assuring a terrified populace that every lead was being pursued and that a breakthrough was imminent. Privately, behind the closed doors of smoke-filled rooms, that confidence was crumbling. Frustration was turning to desperation as investigators stared at corkboards covered in the faces of victims and maps pinned with locations, each one a monument to their failure to stop the violence. The Arlington Phantom wasn't just outsmarting them. He was mocking them with his invisibility. Then, in 1986, a break, or so it seemed. A man was convicted for a separate, brutal murder that shared some of the hallmarks of the Phantom's attacks. His name was Curtis Don Brown, and a Texas court sentenced him to 99 years in prison. This is his face. With him behind bars, the string of killings attributed to the Arlington Phantom suddenly stopped. The other cases, officially unsolved, went cold. The files were eventually archived, gathering dust on shelves as the years passed. For almost 2 decades, this was the only face associated with the end of the terror. A quiet resolution that left more questions than answers. The ghost was gone, but the mystery remained, locked away in a prison cell and buried in old case files. But science has a long memory, and evidence that was once silent can be taught to speak. Decades after the last attack, a new generation of investigators, armed with technology unimaginable in the 1980s, believed they could finally give a voice to the silent victims. A dusty box labeled Arlington Phantom Unsolved was pulled from the archives, its contents holding secrets that had waited patiently for the right moment to be revealed. In a sterile forensics lab, under the glow of modern equipment, a DNA sequence from a nearly 20-year-old crime scene flashed onto a computer screen. Match found! The sample was a perfect match to the man already in prison for another crime. The ghost finally had a name, confirmed not by a confession, but by the irrefutable language of genetics. The Arlington Phantom was unmasked, not in a high-speed chase or a dramatic confrontation, but in a quiet digital database. The face of evil had been hiding in plain sight all along.